What do you need to do to become an opera singer? You're age 13, you've got the skills that have been recognized, but what do you actually have to do?
So
How do
training,
I'm 13 years old, I wish. How do I become an
yeah,
opera
right.
singer?
Yeah, I'm 13 as well. Welcome to the club. Yeah, so basically there's no there's no right or wrong path to take, in my opinion. And it's really easy, especially right now. There's a lot in opera, especially where it's you do the young artist, like young, like 15 to 18-year-old stuff. Then you go to uni for your undergraduate. You try to get into summer programs, even if it's pay to sing. So we in opera, we have these programs, which I'm not really for. I'm just going to say that out loud, where we pay to sing. And
Really?
sometimes, yeah, it's sometimes, and basically the concept of them, the concept is not necessarily a bad thing. They are advertised as like training grounds and things like that, which is fine. The problem is that you get these places that are like, yeah, you get to sing this role and we train you for 4 weeks or whatever, and it's $5,000. And you're like,
Wow.
right. So the problem is, unless you have tons of money, you can't do that. So I never really got to do any of those. And I have lots of stories, in fact, where I even had a company that was a pay to sing who contacted my teacher when I was a first year master student. And they said, hey, we couldn't find anyone that we liked in our auditions to sing Suor Angelica. We always really love your students. Do you have anyone you could like put forward? And he went, absolutely, hire Glyptis. And they emailed me and they were like, hey, Polimanos told us this, and I was like, oh my God, I would love to. And they're like, great. So that'll be $5,000. And I was like, whoa. I was like, you contact. I was like, I don't have any money. And they were like, yeah, well, how much can you pay? And I said, well, I can pay zero. I was like, look, I'll even go do it for free, but I can't pay you. And they're like, no, it's fine. We'll find somebody. So a lot of young singers believe that they need to get into these pay to sings, then eventually into young artist programs. And again, the concept of a young artist program in a big company, right, is not necessarily a bad thing. So a young artist program, like at the Royal Opera, like at Washington National, at the Met, like there's every company has one. Chicago Lyric, they've all Virginia Opera, they've all got um, young artist programs. It's not necessarily a bad concept. The problem is that they're hiring these young artists because now it's not really young artists. You have people well into their 30s doing this. Sometimes they're getting paid $250 to $500 a week, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And they're singing comprimario, like supporting roles. They're covering leading roles, and it's all in the name of training. And it's like, okay, and most of these young artist programs won't even consider you unless you have a master's degree.
That's terrible.
So, yeah. So when you say, how do you become an opera singer? The answer is there's lots of different ways. And not only that, I think it's important for people to realize that it's not just one way or one sect of singing, if you will, in the art world, right? So I believe in the way that I teach is if you know how to sing properly, in my opinion, that's in a classical technique, then you can sing anything. You don't have to just sing opera or classical, right? You can sing pop, you can sing musical theater. I belt, like I did Man of La Mancha, and I did all the belting of Aldonza, and that was with Opera Saratoga. I did some belting even in Phantom. I had these like low bits. Um, I've sung Tanya in Mamma Mia. I've done, I did Anita in West Side Story. So it's good singing is good singing. So I think the way to become an opera singer is yes, training. If you get into a young artist program, great, right? It's all about auditioning. But even still, there's a thing in opera happening. Hopefully, is starting to turn and change. But we have to pay to apply to audition. So not only like, yeah, like
Wow.
and that doesn't guarantee you an audition.
But that
That's just
maintains, sorry, that maintains the elitism in the classical arts. I mean, it's
correct.
in, I don't know what it's like in the States, but in this country, the government try and bring the arts to the common person.
Yeah, so I was gonna say
Sorry.
that's sort of how I felt about England. So for example, I worked with On Location Opera up in Sheffield, and I remember when I applied to sing Amelia, I got a phone call, and the head of the company was like, "Are you are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "But I mean, like, you're West End." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "But this is beautiful music. It's art. It's." I said, "Yes, I know not a lot of money, but I want to sing, right?" And this is what I feel is that bringing opera to everyone, right? Which is what a lot of companies claim. And probably I don't know, I'll probably get blacklisted from everywhere now. I don't know. My agents are probably all sitting there going, no. But it's so important to open opera and musical theater, not just opera, but musical theater, all of these forms to everyone.